Hi, it's Lauren. Thank you so much for joining me back in my craft room. I'm so excited that I'm going to be sharing some new Simon Hurley Create products that just released today. Thank you to Simon and Ranger for sending me these goodies to play with. There are two background stamps, two stencils, and two lunar pastes that I have to be sharing with you today. There are some other products, so make sure you use those links down below to check out everything that was released today. But we're going to go ahead and jump into using my first stencil. This is a layering stencil 6x6. There's 3 different stencils in this layering set, and this is called Dazzling Diamonds. And I'm going to say this is probably my new favorite thing that's been released. I absolutely love the backgrounds that you can create with this stencil set. You'll see, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to be using craft paper because I wanted just to add a little bit of interest and have something in my background other than white. I'm grabbing Uncharted Mariner and I'm just using my Dome Foam blender to add that color using this first stencil. It has the most openings. It's creating those lines around diamond shapes. And you can see here how beautiful this is just on its own. It creates a really pretty kind of lattice feel to the background. I'm going to grab the second stencil, which are all diamonds, and I'm using it to add diamonds inside of those kind of diagonal line pieces that create diamond shapes. And this time I'm going to use a white ink. This is Ink on 3's Shark Tooth White. And again, using my Dome Foam blender to add in white ink and all of those large diamonds. There is another diamond set and it's smaller, so this will be the large diamond stencil. And look how beautiful that these look together. Again, it's so pretty what each step looks like. You could just use all of these on their own or all together like I'm doing now. So then I'm grabbing the smaller stencil of diamonds and I'm adding those into the little opening spots that are left from using the other two stencils. And this time I'm grabbing a lunar paste. This is in silver lining. It is gorgeous. I've never used lunar paste before, so I was so excited to get some today. And this stencil paste is like on a different level. It is so smooth and so easy to use that I'm definitely going to be buying all of the colors. I have full set syndrome, so I need them all. But I loved Lunar Paste. It was so easy to use. And then look at this reveal of those beautiful small silver diamonds with that blue and white background. I just want this background to be my life. It's beautiful. I loved all the colors, the design. It was stunning. So I'm going to set that aside to dry and we're going to do another stenciling pattern. So I'm using the large stencil again with all the openings, and I used an orange ink that was Wild Honey Distress Oxide. And then this time I'm going to add some fired brick oxide, and I'm doing the large diamonds where I did the small diamonds before on the last one. So I'm going to add the large diamonds twice. There's plenty of room to create a different pattern. And for the other large diamonds, I use scattered straw, and you can see how fun this background is. And then I'm going to add the small diamonds on top of those scattered straw ones that I just colored in, and this time I'm using Gold Rush Lunar Paste. Also so beautiful. It has more of a bronzy gold than like a yellow gold, if that makes sense. It's beautiful. Again, these lunar pastes are amazing. If you haven't checked them out, I definitely recommend picking a color and trying them out because they are so easy to use. And here is what this pattern looks like. Isn't that amazing? I love that you can just shift the diamonds around and create completely different patterns every single time you use these stencils. So that background will be set aside to dry, and while I could continue making backgrounds with that set forever, I wanted to use my other stencil set, which is the Mod Christmas Trees, and I think this stencil set is going to be perfect for making quick and easy Christmas cards. So This is going to be my inspiration for Christmas, my usual Christmas video every month on the 25th or around the 25th. So it's a little easy, a little earlier this year, but we're going to be using some green ink. So I'm starting with an ink from Simon Hurley Create called Overzealous, and it's this really beautiful green. I used it in my last Simon Hurley Create video. I was gifted it from scrapbook.com, and it's so beautiful. This is a really nice green color, very like grassy and tree green. So we're going for it in these 3 tree stencils. So what I love about this stencil is there's kind of like 4 steps to it. I guess 5 if you include the stencils that cover the trees. So if you wanted to add some ink around your trees, there were those little individual pieces that I just put onto the packaging for now because I wasn't going to use them for this card. So there's different ways you could use this stencil, and they all layer together just on one stencil. So I started with that base, again using the Overzealous from Simon Hurley Create, and then I grabbed pine needles in the Distress Ink pad. I have a little mini one here, and I'm going to add the next layer to these mod Christmas trees, which is going to add kind of a shadow effect on the trees. So I centered them on top of the trees that I already colored. I'm grabbing another dome foam blender, and I'm just blending this pine needles ink right on top of it. I love that you could do a completely different color. You could even use like a lunar paste in a green color, and I think that would be so pretty, or any color really. But I loved these 2 colors together. I thought they complement each other really nicely. I'm going to add my little tree trunk. So I grabbed walnut stain, and I'm just using a tiny little brush for this instead of a dome foam because they're tiny little rectangles to make our tree trunks. So it would just be easy to grab a small brush. And look at that, we're already almost done with our trees, and it's so easy with this stencil. So the final layer that I'm going to do, I'm of course going to bring out more of that lunar paste. I'm going to use Gold Rush again, and I've put lots of mint tape to block anywhere where I don't want the lunar paste to go. And again, just applying a nice thin layer. I can't even describe how smooth lunar paste is. But it's amazing. Please go get some. And I put a layer of that lunar paste through my stencil onto my trees, and look how cute they are. I love the detail of these shiny little parts to my trees. I'm going to set that aside to dry. So now let's move into our background stamps. The first one I'm going to be using is the Old Holiday Blooms. This is a peel apart background stamp, and I've never used a peel apart background stamp. So don't don't follow what I did for this stamping. I did not do this well. I've never used one of these kind of stamps before, so it was a learning process. So we're just going to show you how the stamp looks and what you can use color-wise, but it wasn't my best work, but that's okay. We're learning together on this product. So I took out all of the pieces that I wanted to stamp red so that I just had my leaves behind. I inked up the background stamp with pine needles, and I placed some white cardstock on top, and then just used my Misty to help me with stamping those green leaves. But then I realized that I didn't keep my paper in place on my Misty, so when I put all of the pieces that I want red back into the stamp and pulled off the greenery, I didn't know exactly how to line up my paper. So I did my best. I placed it down, added some mint tape to hopefully keep my paper in the right spot. And this time I'm adding candied apple distress ink to my stamps. I went ahead and stamped it, and I didn't do too bad of a job. There's one poinsettia that definitely was not in the right spot, but that's okay. So we're gonna have some fun with it. It's a beautiful, beautiful stamp. I just need more experience using these peel apart stamps. I'm grabbing a circle die, and I'm die cutting a circle out of my background. I die cut a larger circle. These are a stackable circle set or a nested circle set from scrapbook.com. So I grabbed the next size up, and I die cut it out of some gold kind of mirrory metallic cardstock. That's from Cardstock Warehouse. And I'm going to just kind of create like a spotlight look. So I am adding some foam adhesive around my die cut circle. I'm going to center my gold piece of cardstock as best as I can. So I'm using a pencil just to draw where that circle should line up when I adhere it down. The foam adhesive already has the backing removed, and I went ahead and adhered that gold circle using that line that I drew with a pencil as a guide. And then using some wet glue, I'm going to glue this poinsettia piece right back into the center, doing my best to line up so it looks like it's a continuous image. Now I wanted to add a little bit more lunar paste, and I thought I would try to use these little circles from the last stencil, the Mod Christmas trees. Just wanted to add like a little bit of the gold. So I'm just going to create a little cluster of 3 and use mint tape to hide the rest. And I'm going to grab, again, Gold Rush and my little palette knife. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that lunar paste to 3 of the poinsettias. So I have the first one there in the circle. I'm going to do the one on top of the circle and then the one below. And I did get a little messy. I've got some gold in places I didn't intend and some ink in places I didn't intend, but that's okay. It's a handmade card. We're here to have fun, and maybe I'll add some more embellishment at another time to kind of hide some of those, I wouldn't call them mistakes, but a little extra gold than where I intended to put the gold. Lastly, I have another peel apart rubber background stamp, and this is called Magic Stripes, and I love it because it goes very well with our plaid builder. Now I'm only going to use the Magic Stripes in this video because I'm sharing the new product and I just wanted to use the new things. I will add in some stamp sets when I put the card together, but for the backgrounds I just wanted to use new products. But you can definitely count on me putting those 2 background stamps together to create some fun plaid sweater looks. So stay tuned for that. But I'm just going to play around with this background, and I'm going to create kind of an ugly sweater, maybe a little bit spacey kind of vibe. So, and spacey, I mean like outer space. I put the large piece, so half of the background stamp is like one piece, and then the other half are peel apart strips. So this time I grabbed my Midnight Snack from Simon Hurley Create, and I went ahead and stamped that large background stamp onto my card base. And I have this inside my mini Misty, and I'm using my smallest of my Clearly Amazing mats from scrapbook.com. It's a light tacky mat that just helps keep your paper in place, and it's great for stamping inside of your mini Misty. And I'm just going to grab some random stripes from the peel apart stripes portion of this background stamp, and we're just adding some more kind of curvy waves, some more dots, and just want to add in a little bit more into the background. And once I'm happy with the different lines, or I guess you could say the different patterns, I'm gonna stamp these in overzealous Simon Hurley Create ink again. This is a lighter green, so layering all those up, and then I will repeat it again. So I'm going to stamp these 3 first. I'm doing my best to get them straight thanks to the Misty and the grid on there. It doesn't turn out too bad. So here I am adding that overzealous ink, and I am placing that onto my background, and you can see how adding just a little bit more kind of creates a little bit busier of a background. And then here I am doing it again. And there you can see that's all the stamping I'm going to do on this background. I'm leaving a little bit of white on the bottom so I can add a sentiment. Now, I didn't really like just the blunt white edges of this background, so I grabbed that overzealous again and my Dome Foam blender that I used earlier for my trees and just filled in some more of that green. You can see that I wanted to use a bright green because I have this cutie little alien from the Mythical Monsters stamp set that I received last month from Ranger and Simon. So again, that's why I'm creating kind of a spacey Christmas sweater vibe. So I picked a sentiment also from the same stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it with that Midnight Snack ink. And I only have eyes for you because of course our little alien here has a bunch of eyeballs. I'm going to grab some foam adhesive and I'm just going to completely cover the alien, trying to get some support behind all of those eyeballs and adhere that to my card front. I will add this to a card base later, but this video is long enough as it is, so we're just going to work with card fronts for today. And here is my first card. I really love how this sweet little card turned out. I love the colors, and I think it's going to be really cute for a kid or, someone who maybe likes space and aliens. Now to add a little bit more detail to that bloom background, I die cut the word joy out of that same gold metallic cardstock, and this is an alphabet die set called Festive Alphabet from scrapbook.com. I really love the kind of curviness and flourish to the letters, so I thought this would be really pretty. And I'm adding joy to cover up that poinsettia that went rogue, and that way it's not totally as noticeable that I have this weird flower not quite centered where it should be. And again, I might add a little more to this card, but honestly, I think it turned out really cute. It's very simple, but the background just really makes the card. That stamp set is very beautiful. Now for my mod trees, I'm grabbing the stamp set Folk Art Ornaments, and this is a recent stamp set release from Simon as well, and it actually comes with dies from Spellbinders, which is so cool. I don't know if you saw Simon's release for that, but I will have that link down below as well in the visual supply list. But I grabbed 3 sentiments from that set. I did joy, peace, and Noel, and I centered them to be under my trees, and I stamped them with a pinecone VersaFine clear ink. And I'm just going to use some foam adhesive to attach this background to a craft card front. And I just thought those would go really well together because of the Gold Rush kind of, again, has more of a brown, bronzy feel, more so than a yellow gold feel. And then for my beautiful, very warm feeling Dazzling Diamonds background, I'm going to be grabbing a sentiment, and I already stamped and colored my pumpkins in the basket. This is from the stamp set called Happy Fall. This is also a previous release from a recent release from Simon Hurley. And I just stamped it onto a 1-inch piece of white cardstock that's trimmed to fit across the card front, which is 4¼ inches. And I'm using foam adhesive to attach that sentiment as well as my little basket of pumpkins. Very simple, but again, I really wanted these backgrounds to shine on these cards because I can't get over how beautiful all of these products are. And then my final card, which I think is probably my favorite because I absolutely love the white, blue, and silver together. Those are my favorite color combinations for the holiday, but this will not be a holiday card. I'm adding some foam adhesive, and I went ahead and just made a card base for this because I wanted a white border around this background. So I'm using some foam adhesive to adhere that to the card base. And then I stamped and colored this cutie from that Mythical Monster stamp set. And I kind of wanted it to be, now this is my sense of humor, right? I wanted it to kind of be like a Krampus for the holiday season, but I decided to we're just going to pretend he's a cute little snow monster. So depending on your preferences of how you like to make your cards, it's either a cute little snow yeti or maybe it's Krampus. So I stamped another sentiment from the Mythical Monsters stamp set that says, "You make me smile," because look at that big old toothy grin that he has. And I just stamped it with Midnight Snack. Oh no, this one I stamped in Uncharted Mariner in the Distress ink so it would match the background. And I trimmed around the sentiment so it was small and wouldn't block any of my beautiful dazzling diamonds. And I centered that onto the card base with foam adhesive, and then again adding some foam adhesive behind my little monster and centering him to the card. And let's now lay out all of our cards. So we have our 2 dazzling diamonds, our mod tree, our festive bloom, and our magic stripes. So these are my 5 different cards I use. Also trying to bring in some other Simon Hurley Create products so you can see them together. And this isn't just Christmas, you can use it for anything and any time of the year. So I'm so excited for these cards, and thank you again to Simon and Ranger for sending me these to play with. I can't wait to keep on creating. I hope you enjoyed these inspiration ideas. Make sure you check out the whole new release by using my links down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!